with us the qualities that men desire in a wife. And I want you to understand that you don't have to be single in order to glean something from this, right? So whether you're single, whether you're dating, whether you're engaged, whatever it might be, this is an episode that is absolutely for you. So listen, what I want you to do, I want you to go ahead, share this out, tell all your friends, tell them to go ahead and gather around the telly. Don't you guys love that the television nowadays is actually social media? So it's on our phone, it's on our computer. I even like to throw mine right on the television, but I want you to get ready for the ManFast podcast.
Father, any moment now, I got coochie cobwebs. You know
what? Coochie cobwebs.
If you're triggered, it's a sign that you have brokenness, that there is a soul fracture, and you have not fixed the problem.
I think that I personally settled for whatever it was because I didn't know that if there was anything better.
Listen, you all, it has been just one incredible year since I first released my book called the ManFast Podcast. I released it last January, and I had this whole plan of how I wanted to release the book. And the Lord was like, just get it out there. And so last year, I think it was about a good 6, 7, maybe even 8 months that I met with a group of women from all over the country. And we met every single week. And they were from all walks of life. We had people that had been married 30, 40 years, those that were engaged, those that were newly in relationships. And of course, for those of us that are successfully single, we were also in the group. And it was such an incredible space of healing. It was just an incredible space of healing. And so I'm praying about when to resurrect that and when to start that again. But that is going to start again. And it's going to be a little bit more pointed. We're going to actually have different activities, healing activities, and different things like that. So it's going to be a really, really good time. But for those of you that you're not familiar with the ManFast, it is a book. It includes prayers to combat every area that you may be dealing with. It also has reflection questions and activities to help you move to your healing. And so when we're talking about the ManFast, this book guides you through ways of how to love yourself through God's eyes, how to break soul ties, and how to prepare for the man of your prayers. Because I don't know about anybody else. When I thought that I was connecting with the man of my dreams, I made mistakes every single time. And so when the Lord back in October of 22, when he said to me, I need you to give me a year with no distractions, I'll be honest with you. At first, I really didn't think that I would be able to do it. I was just like, I've always had a man. Like there's always been somebody in my life. And so when the Lord said, listen, I need you to give me a year, no distractions. It was a year of consecration. It was truly a year of true biblical fasting, according to Isaiah 58. And it was one where it was full of deliverance. It was full of deliverance, delivered from low self-esteem, delivered from perversion of different things. I was delivered from porn. I had been addicted to that since I was 8 years old, right? And you guys, when we consecrate ourselves before the Lord, the way that he will break things off of our life so that he can use us for his glory. And so that is what this is all about. And so when it comes to the ManFast podcast, I said, okay, I need to pull some people in here that they understand what it is to live a consecrated life. And so I was able to pull 8 different incredible women last year who connected with me, and we talked about everything from bouncing back from divorce, from being celibate for 10 years by choice, okay? By choice, celibate for 10 years. Before finding the love of her life and learning how to date again. I talked to pastors and apostles and women who had gone through the divorce only to later find out who their soulmate, who their Godmate actually was. It really was an incredible ride. There were 8 incredible episodes of the ManFast podcast on last year. And I'm really excited about what we have in store for you as well. Now, listen, what I want to do is I just wanted to take a second before I bring on Dr. Hightower. And, tonight's broadcast is talking about, are you the good thing? Are you the good thing? Now, listen, we know the verse in Proverbs. We love to quote the verse in Proverbs. We love to quote it, where it says that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And when I was in the process of working on my book, Holy Spirit was like, well, but are you? I'm like, I mean, of course I am. I'm the good thing. And he was like, you sure? Like, you sure about that? Are you sure that you're actually the good thing? And he began to walk me through, again, the healing and the deliverance of it all. And so I want to share with you a little bit from chapter 12, where it talks about you are good merchandise. But before that, I want to give a quick shout out to those of you that are hanging out with me over in the chat. Let's go ahead and say hello, hello, hello to you. Jeannie. Jeannie is a Bible teacher. Jeannie, thank you so much for hanging out with me on tonight. You guys, Jeannie joins me every single morning for my Bible study. I teach Bible study every day at 7:30 a.m. And she is with me every morning. She's here before anybody else most of the time. And pretty much like 98% of the time, she is here before anybody else is here, waiting and hanging out. And we connect, like we always connect and confirm behind the scenes, and it's just so awesome to just be connected. Excuse me. I want to say hello to Miss Carmen. Miss Carmen was with me this morning on Bible study, and she was like, listen, I want to be there tonight. Send me the link. I want to be there. I want to tune in and I want to listen. And so I'm so excited to see you here. Alicia Shaw, that's my little honey bun. Alicia, she says, listen, she says, I am married and I love the book. I'm telling you, it's for anybody. Because here's the thing. If you have something that you've dealt with before you were married, you're going to carry that into your marriage, right? You're going to carry that into your situation. If you found yourself having certain addictions or certain proclivities, whatever you deal with single, if you do not deal with it and you don't allow God to bring full deliverance to your life, you will carry that into your marriage. I know from experience. I was married twice. And I'll tell you, for the longest time, I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure as a mother. I felt like a failure as a wife. I felt like a failure, honestly, as God's daughter. And I love how God, he will come in and he restores us and he pours into us and he begins to tell us who we are. And I'll tell you something, when you learn to love yourself through God's eyes, there is nothing like it. Your confidence shoots up. Your boldness shoots up. And where I used to be very hard as a way on the exterior, I used to be just very hard as a way to protect myself. Now I've entered into a season where I see the strength of being soft, right? I see the strength of being that soft woman who doesn't have a problem with letting a man be a man. And so I remember going through my process of the MANFAST, and I remember saying to myself, Lord, whoever gets me when this is over, he is going to literally have the very best version of me. But what I was excited about is that I encountered and I met the very best version of myself first. And I'll tell you, I'm so proud of that. I'm so proud of allowing God to do the work in my life. I want to say hello to Prophetess Sadira. How are you doing? Blessings to you. I'm excited about today's show as well. Thank you so much for being here and for hanging out with me. I want to say hello to my other little honey bun, Shauna Mason. Listen, you guys, Alicia and Shauna, I have to say this all the time because I need people to understand these women are grown. But I treat them like they're babies. Like I just love them. They're just so sweet. And so I just love them. They're just so special to me in my life. And so I want to say hello, hello, hello to you. Minister Angela Simmons, good evening to you. Hi and blessings to you as well. We have Amy that is hanging out with us. Listen, I really want to know how to say your last name because it looks like the pronunciation of it is beautiful. It looks like it is so beautiful, but I don't want to mess it up because I think that names are important. So Amy, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Listen, those of you that are hanging out while we are getting ready to bring in Dr. Hightower, because y'all were about to get to the meat of everything, y'all drop in the chat and let me know where you're actually tuned in from. I would love to know what state or what country that you're in here. And I want to say hello to Marilyn Phillip. Good evening to you. Thank you so much for being here. Hello to you, LaVara Johnson. Okay, my maiden name is Johnson. Johnsons rule the world. I'm just saying, listen, okay? We might be cousins. Every Johnson thinks that they're a cousin to somebody because 9 times out of 10 we are. So hello, cousin. I'm so glad that you're here. So good to meet you. So good to meet you. I want to say hello to you, Miss Sharon Jackson. Hi, Miss Sharon Jackson. It is so awesome to have you hanging out with me on this evening. San Antonio, Texas. Come on, Texas. Texas is in the house. Prophetess Sadira says that she is from Phoenix, Arizona. Oh, man. So is that 2 or 3 hours behind? How many hours behind me are you? Because it's 6 p.m. here. Arizona is one of the states that I have not traveled to yet. I have not traveled there yet. But what an honor that you're here. Amy is from Forks, Washington. Y'all are coming from all over the place. Stop playing. Okay, Prophetess Sadira says 2 hours. 2 hours. Okay. LaVar Johnson is from Wisconsin. Yes, boo. So good to have you hanging out with us tonight, all the way from Wisconsin. Alicia says, come on, Texas. I love it. Yeah, I got to come hang out. I got to come and hang out because that is one state that I have not been to. Marilyn is from Trinidad and Tobago. Stop playing. How are you doing? Hello to you. What is the weather like over there? It's cold over here, but actually it was pretty warm here in Delaware. So, well, within reason, y'all, we've had 23 degrees. So today it was like 50 degrees. So it actually felt like it was pretty warm when you're used to 23 degrees. Right? It felt like it was pretty warm. Yeah, listen. Yeah. Hello, cousin. Yes, I love it. We have Jeannie is from Oklahoma. Hello to you, Jeannie from Oklahoma. You guys are giving me the glads on tonight. I am so honored to just have you all here. So excited to have you here. Thank you for everyone that you're tagging people in the chat. I really appreciate that because it helps to share this out. Also, any comments that you make, please make your comments. I also want to tell you that at some point, I think I might do something a little bit different. I might actually allow some people to come on and ask a question. Now, so just be prepared for that because if I do it, you just got to be ready because you're going to be on camera, okay? You're going to be on camera. So, don't y'all come on camera with your hair looking like this, okay? Y'all put your hair on, pull it up in a bun. You know what I'm saying? So that'll be later on in the broadcast, but that's, I may drop the link so that if you wanted to come on and ask myself and Dr. Hightower a question, then you're able to do that. All right. Oh, Amy says there's snow there. I love the snow. I love snow. Okay. I love snow. We've had snow and it has blessed my life. I either love snow or I want to be by the water, right? So those are just my favorite things in life. La Mercia, did I say your name correctly? Because listen, y'all, I'm gonna put a Spanish accent on everything, right? So you'll be La Mercia, you'll be La Mercia. You got to tell me how to pronounce the name because I am here for all of it. And she says, greetings from South Africa. The way you have just blessed my heart on today. I adore you. I adore you. Marilyn says that it is lovely, warm weather up in the island of Trinidad and Tobago. I think a lot of us are probably a little bit jealous of that. I think we're a little bit jealous of that. Amy, you are the tagging queen on tonight. I'm sending you hugs, boo. I love that. Alicia says, listen, get your hair on, your eyebrows on, get your clothes on. Y'all get everything on. Amy says that you live in a national forest? Stop playing. That has to be incredible. That has to be beautiful. So yeah, Amy says that she lives by both. So, okay, so you live by the water and you get to see the snow at the same time. Oh, it must be incredible where you're at. It must be incredible. Listen, you guys, it's just about that time that I'm about to bring on Dr. Hightower. But one thing I wanted to just share with you, if somebody's saying, what is the purpose of having a podcast called the MANFAST podcast? Well, first of all, this podcast is all about empowering Christian women who desire to put God first in their life. This podcast is all about healing, growing, and again, preparing for the husband of your prayers. Even if you find yourself already married, let me tell you something. You can always up your game. You can always up your game and give your husband a brand new wife, one that he's probably maybe always wanted, always desired. He'll listen, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, it's okay for us to revolutionize ourselves and for us to turn it on for our men. And for those of us that were single, y'all, we're praying for our husbands even before they come, because God is completing the work. And so we have candid conversations. If you didn't know from the quick intro, we get real and raw here. I don't have any problem, because I am tired of us having little patty cake conversations. We're just over that. And so when I wrote the chapter called "You Are Good Merchandise," one of the things that a couple of the things that the Lord said to me, he said, my daughters have forgotten that they are heirs to the throne. So this is what this podcast is about. God said, my daughters have forgotten that they are heirs to the throne. He said, they've allowed others to diminish their value. He said, they walk with their heads low. They have forgotten that they don't have to accept just anything. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I remember a couple years ago, I was at a space where I was accepting anything just to have somebody near me, anything to make me feel like a woman, anything to make me feel like I had some type of value. And then the Lord said, he said, they look good in public. They look confident in public, but behind closed doors, they battle low self-esteem, depression, suicidal thoughts, and shame. They have forgotten who they are, or perhaps they never knew. Who is that on tonight? Now, you don't even necessarily need to put that in the chat. You don't have to say that's me, but if that's you, I'm so glad that you're here. He said, instead of rest, they seek relief from a bottle. I don't know what you have done in the space of your loneliness. I don't know what toxic traits that you've returned to in the space of your loneliness. But when I asked the Lord, I said, Papa, like, what's the issue? Is this a heart issue? And what the Lord said to me, he said, it's a worth issue. They don't understand their worth. They don't understand their worth. And so if we were to look at Proverbs 31:18, and then I'm going to bring it on Dr. Gerald after this. Dr. G is what I call him. Proverbs 31:18 says, she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night. Now, I understand that when we're talking about merchandise, we've always looked at that as being, what she has created, the things that she sells, because Proverbs 31, like, this is an all around woman. This is a woman who, she prepares her household at night. She's prepared for anything. She prepares her children. She prepares her husband. Her husband can trust her with his heart, right? He can trust her with all those things, but she perceiveth that her merchandise is good. I submit to you tonight that you are that merchandise, that you have to know that you are good merchandise before you ever choose to bring a man into your space, right? You have to know that you are indeed that good merchandise. Yeah, you have to know that that's who you are. And so we're about to dig in tonight. And so without any further ado, I am so excited. I'm so excited to present to some and introduce to others Dr. Gerald Hightower. How are you doing on this evening, sir? How are you doing?
Oh goodness, Dr. Tamika, not the church introduction.
I'm churchy. I can't help it. Let me present to some and introduce to others. Actually, I had it backwards, so I'm clearly not as churchy as I think. I'm not as churchy as I think. But how are you doing on this evening?
Excellent. Doing very well. Thank you. It's a blessing to be here. Thank you for blessing me to be your first guest of 2025.
You're my first guest, and you're first male.
The first male. Okay.
Of the podcast
now,
ever.
I'm seeing some delay on my end, Dr. Tamika. Is it delaying on your end?
There is a slight delay. Yeah, there's a delay.
Okay. So I think to solve that, I'm gonna exit real quick and then I'll come right back in.
Sounds like a plan. Okay. Sounds like a plan. All right. So listen, you guys, I absolutely love technology. Don't we love technology? It's awesome because it allows us to connect from different ends of the earth. And so it's awesome. Okay, listen, Amy, you better say that. Amy says, I'm good merchandise, the daughter of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And she says, hallelujah. Glory. Look, Shauna said first man ever, but no pressure. Like literally no pressure. You're just in a room full of women, like no pressure. We are not we're not going to tear Dr. G apart. It's just a room full of women. No worries, right? No worries, no worries. Amy, again, thank you for everybody that you tagged. Mary says, I can't wait until you move to Virginia. You better speak that. Let me tell you guys something while we're waiting for Dr. G to be able to pop back in. 2 weeks ago, I had the opportunity to preach in Richmond, Virginia. And let me tell you guys something. The Identity Church of Virginia, they are my family. I love them so much. I love them so much. And so I don't know what's going to happen. Oh, wait a minute. So Mary, Shauna says she's not allowed. She says she's not allowed to move. Okay. She's not allowed. But I'm going to tell y'all something. And this is something that we definitely can attest to. What I preached about was, look, Alicia said ditto. What I preached about was the process of waiting. You guys, none of us like to wait. And let's be honest, us as women, especially those of us that might be single, the one thing that we definitely don't necessarily want to do, we don't necessarily want to wait for who our spouse is. Like we don't want to wait, right? Like we're over being single a lot of the times. And I remember what I felt like that. I'm going to tell y'all what was crazy about it. I'll go ahead and bring Dr. Hightower into the conversation. Dr. Hightower, you want to say something so we can see if there's the delay?
It looks like there's still a little bit of a delay.
Just a little bit. It's not as bad as it was. But one of the things I was talking about is the fact that, a lot of times us as single women, we don't like to wait. We don't want to wait for who God might be preparing for us. And so, ladies, I wanted to tell you, when I said this to the Lord, I remember, and this was a couple of years ago, and I said to the Lord, I was crying because, y'all, I can be really dramatic. And I love that God loves me just the way that I am. And I was crying and I was like, Lord, how long do I have to wait? Right? I was like, I'm tired of waiting. And y'all, there's nothing like the Lord checking you right where you are. And the Lord said to me, he said, you've never been faithful to me. He was like, it doesn't matter about the men that were in your life. You've never been faithful to me. And the Lord began to tell me all about myself, how I couldn't keep myself. And the Lord was like, you've never been faithful to me. Right? Because we're his daughter first. We're God's daughter first. We're his daughter first. Prophetess Sadira says, come on now, the process of waiting. Listen, it's a whole message. It's a whole message. Bishop Kilpatrick, hello, welcome to you. He says, teach us T and G. Y'all, Dr. G, we're already a dynamic duo. Come on here. Listen, we got the T and G tag. Stop playing, Bishop.
That's my brother. That's my brother from Southern California.
Come on, California. He's up here prophesying all in the comments and stuff. He said,
he is a prophet. He is a prophet.
Yeah, he said, y'all about to snatch. He said, I'm about to snatch some edges off. We're going to snatch some beards off and mustaches off tonight. The mustache. Dr. Hightower, the mustache. Amy says, I'm 4 years in waiting, but I'm enjoying this time with the Lord being his bride. That is so powerful. Now, Dr. G, I'm definitely going to do like the normal thing, like, tell us about yourself. But what do you think about that? About how we should enjoy being in a place of wait. Like it's painful sometimes, but we really should appreciate this space.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Dr. Tamika. The waiting process is something that has to be embraced. Like you have to embrace it, because if you don't, there's, again, the psychological perspective of fight or flight. So you're going to want to bail out before your time, right? Because it's uncomfortable waiting. The flesh does not want to wait at all. So we have to be in a certain place with God so that we are willing to wait. Because watch this, Dr. Tamika, to wait means that I'm going to remain still. I'm going to remain stationary while maintaining my expectation. Now, how can you have joy in expectation if you don't want to wait? Right? So the waiting process is something we have to enjoy. And that's where we have to keep our hands filled with purpose. Focus on purposeful things so that you don't even think about like, oh my God, I'm spending another night by myself, and I'm just alone by myself, and I've got to go dinner by myself. And you get all caught up in that. And before you know it, you'll be tripping. You'll be actually mad with God. Like, God, really? You know, you'll be like those little kids in Ice Cube's music. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Where's he at? You know, because Dr. Tamika, I was there too. And so I had to really, God had to teach me. He said, son, if you keep your hands filled with purpose, you won't have your mind so consumed, you know, with wondering, where is she? You know, I'm out here, Dr. Tamika, singing the Shy Lights, talking about, have you seen her? Tell me, have you seen her? You know, and I mean, you won't be caught up. No. We're trying to keep people in the broadcast. No, we're trying to keep people in the broadcast. I'll get my brother, Bishop Kilpatrick. I'll get him to sing. Because he can sing for real. But no, but really, it's really just that. It's keeping your hands filled with purpose, and it's having a willingness to wait.
That's really incredible, having the willingness to wait. And I remember for a time, when the Lord told me to give him a year, I immediately said yes, because I know what it is to obey quickly. But I had a meltdown later on, either that evening or the next day. And I remember I called my cousin and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I've already been waiting. All this, because again, I'm dramatic, and it's okay. I've come to accept who I am, right? My feelings are big, but they're real, okay? And I was just like, I don't know what to do. And she said to me, she said, you walk in your purpose. That's what she told me. She said, you walk in your purpose. She said, you fulfill the assignment on your life. That is what you do while you're waiting. And so I love that. Keep your hands full with purpose. That is so powerful. That is so powerful. Bishop says, excuse me, I drove city buses for years, but no matter what happened on my route, my same customers were still waiting. Woo! Come on, Bishop. We're about to pull you in here, Bishop. Stop playing. He said, because they knew I was still coming. Ladies, Bishop has said a whole word. It didn't matter. Listen, he went the same route. And for those of us, we feel like we've been in a space for years, because Amy said, listen, I've been waiting for the last 4 years, right? That's what she's saying. And she said, but I want to make sure that I'm ready when the time comes. Y'all, we have to know that we serve a creative God, a loving God, and that the man that God has for us is still coming. Come on, Bishop. Come on, Bishop. We got another man that's in the chat. We have Mr. Dwight Robinson. He says, remain faithful and true to our calling. That's powerful.
That's right, King.
That's powerful. 1 second. Amy says, it's been actually 8 years. I had a little hiccup along the way, but I got back in position fast. Come on, that's what we have to do. We got to quickly recalibrate. Yes. Prophetess Sadira says, that's it. Keep your hands full with purpose. Man, Dr. G, we already are buzzing in the comments. Monica says, I think expectation may be impacted by shifts with responsibilities, especially for those who are a little more seasoned and maybe approaching that transition in caregiving roles. She said 10 plus years waiting and doing the work in the wait. Prophetess she's prophesying. She said, he's still coming. Y'all, he's coming. He's still coming. God's completing the work in you, and he's completing the work in him. All right. So Dr. G, I want to kind of go all the way back to the beginning, because I just made you dive in head first. You are.
Yeah. That's what I like to do, Dr. Tamika. People know enough about me, and if they don't, they can look it up.
Well, I mean, let me just brag on you for just a second. I mean, you've been in a space where you've pastored. You actually still work very deeply in ministry. You are a relationship coach. You are an intercessor. You're a watchman on the wall, which is so powerful. You're a prophet, right? And you really are. You are a servant leader, which is so powerful that you don't have a problem being that. And so, did I miss anything that you would want us to know? I mean, you're an author. No. Is there anything else that I missed that you want to add?
Whatever you do not hit Bishop Kilpatrick's comment.
I just saw it. I hope he's saying this about me. Are you saying that about me, Bishop?
No, he's talking about me.
Well,
He has a whole wife. Lady Bridget will go oops upside that head if he was saying
listen,
that to you.
well, absolutely. So it's not about me at all. It's not about me at all. It's about
That's
you.
his
So
that's his nickname for me.
I should post it. I should put it up.
Don't do it, Dr. Tamika. Come on, we're friends.
You have to sing a song. You got to sing
We're
the
friends. We're
You have to
friends,
sing
Dr. Tamika.
We are.
Let's talk about the qualities because the ladies want to hear about the qualities of a wife. What does it mean to have? What are these qualities that men desire? Ladies, I talk about this all the time. And as Dr. Tamika said, I've been in this space serving as a pastoral counselor, specializing in relationships for 20 years. So I'm not new to this. I'm real true to this, passionate about the mission of building healthy love relationships. And so one of the things that I wanted to share with you ladies is that we as men, our list, so to speak, it is so very simple. We don't have a scroll of needs that we desire in a wife. Our list is very short. Every man is going to be different, but there are some core needs that are universal among most, if not all men. And I want to emphasize, Dr. Tamika, healthy men who are healthy mentally, men who are healthy physically. Because obviously, if a man lacks in an area physically, he's been injured. He has some kind of pre-existing disorder physically. Of course, he's going to have a different set of needs, right? But if you are mentally, emotionally, and physically healthy, there are some universal things that all men desire and need. All right. So, Dr. Tamika, did you have a specific question that you wanted to throw at me, or do you want me to just jump in with these love nuggets?
Oh no, I definitely have questions. Especially, I have probably at least a question after every love nugget. But
okay,
before we even get started with your qualities, I want to ask you.
Yes, ma'am.
Can a man tell if a woman is thirsty? Like, can he tell if she's desperate? Because you're about to tell us the qualities. So I think for us, we have our own ideas of what men want. And a few years ago, I remember one of my friends, her husband basically had said to her that he felt like I was desperate and that men could smell that on me. And I went off on him because that's what you're supposed to do when somebody tells you that you're desperate. Like this had to be like 5 years ago. But on the inside, I was like, wow, I really am though. Right? Like I really am. So can men tell when a woman is thirsty and when she's desperate?
Yes. I want to say, Dr. Tamika, that there's a fragrance that she emits.
Wow.
But it's not a physical thing. It's really like, it is somewhat of a fragrance that a woman, and please excuse me, I don't mean to be condescending or insulting in any way, but I just want to use this as an analogy. In the animal kingdom, the male lion can tell when the female lion is in heat, right? Because there's a certain type of fragrance that she emits, not to mention she, falls all over him and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, baby, you want me to go, so the same thing is true in the human space between a man and a woman. There's a certain type of energy a woman gives off, and there's a certain type of, there's a certain physical posture. Her body language will speak. Little things that she does. I love watching a woman who is married or a woman who is committed to a man. I love watching her posture. When she's committed to that man, there's several things that she does not do, Dr. Tamika. She does not have sustained eye contact with other men, and she doesn't open up her body language. Her body language doesn't open up to a man. She'll stay kind of closed and reserved. He could be standing right here and she may turn to him so as not to be rude, but she doesn't open herself to give a full-on body embrace, right? Because she doesn't want any intimate type of connection with another man. So those are the postures. Those are the kind of things that we can tell as men. And when a woman is really open like that and she's all touchy-feely and things like that, we know like, okay, sister girl's thirsty.
So that's seen as thirst and not interest.
Yeah. It all depends on how that woman does it. if a woman is wise, she knows how to do enough of that where she's showing genuine interest so he can pursue her, versus doing too much. I call it being a part of the DTM crew, doing too much where the brother is feeling like, dang, is she trying to sleep with me tonight? I mean, what's going on? What's up with the, all of the hitting and the touching and wanting to hold my hand and, laughing at my corny jokes. I know that wasn't even funny. She's like, oh my God, you're so funny. So there's just certain things that a woman can do a little bit too much of that will cross that fine line from genuine interest to her thirst is real.
Now, those are really good nuggets. Definitely great teachable nuggets right there. Bishop says the fragrance is not always necessarily negative. It's a scent that is controlled by her character, which is really what you just described. Like, it's really what you just described. I think that's really, really powerful. Really, really powerful. And I think everybody is picking up what you are putting down. Alicia says, yeah, that wasn't even funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. Prophetess says that part, show interest and still be coy in degree. So
yeah, because Dr. Tamika, we love to pursue. We want to pursue you. We're wired by God. It's in our DNA. We want to pursue you. So at the same time, on an emotional level, I do want to know that you at least are interested in me too, but I want to pursue you, right? Because men, we're hunters by nature. So we want to go and pursue the woman that we see great value in her, and we want her to be a part of our life.
Yes. There was a question for me in the chat. Dr. T, are you single? Yes, I am. Successfully single, contently single, right? Content at the moment, right? You know how people are like, I'm happily single. No, I mean, I'm successfully in this space. I'm content in this space, but I'm open. Like, I'm ready for the Lord to do what it is that he wants to do. And I do think that there's a difference. Before I was like, I'm happily single. I was okay letting people know. Listen, all the girls bounce. I'm happily single. I want everybody to know. No, like, I found contentment with the Lord. And okay, Bishop. So I want you to hit the first love nugget.
That's my brother. That's my brother. Dr. Tamika, just to let you know, we go back like over 30 years.
Okay.
So he's off the chain. And he knows things.
Bishop, you rock.
he knows things about me that most people don't, and vice versa. Dexter.
So that's a threat. It's like, listen, it's a warning. It's a warning. So let's jump in these nuggets because I know that you actually have taught these nuggets. And I'm like, I told you, y'all ladies, I told him, I was like, listen, because he has at least 7. And I was like, you don't have to hit all of them. But I was like, I really want him to hit as many as possible. So I don't want to take up all of your time. But okay, Bishop, I'm going to stop looking at these comments. So, all right, Dr. G.
Hey, my brother, Minister Chris is in here. What's up, Chris? Good to see you, brother. Thanks for coming in.
Hi, Chris. Hello to you. So talk to us about the first love nugget.
I'm sorry. He's cutting up. Let's stay focused right here, Tamika. You and I, let's just stay focused right here. Yeah, and we can come back.
What's the Vicky Winans thing about?
We can come. Long story.
Bishop.
Long story. We have a Vicky Winans story. It's a long story. I saw another comment over there.
Okay.
Who was that?
Just let's see here. Look, Shauna said, who's asking? Y'all, that's my little sis. That's my little sis over there. I don't see any other comments, Dr. G.
Okay.
Not at the moment. So I'll make sure to throw it up there. Hey, Dr. Troy. Dr. Troy is the whole reason I think why we connected, because you were on Dr. Troy Gibson's show. And I remember I was like, this is going to be so good. This is going to be so good. So Dr. Troy, welcome to you, Apostle. He said, Dr. Tamika, Dr. Gerald, praise the Lord. Yes. Good
Blessings,
stuff.
Dr. Troy.
Yes.
So love nugget number 1, Dr. Tamika. So the number one thing that men need, one of the 7 qualities that a man needs in a wife, is first and foremost that she is in love with and fully submitted to the Lord. In love with the Lord. Because, and I want to emphasize being in love with him, because many of us who've been in church for a long time being 10, 15, 20 years or more, many of us kind of develop a kind of habit type of relationship with God. We're really acquainted with him, but we don't intimately know him. Right. And so I have learned over the years, for myself first, but also observing others and even in pastoral leadership, that if you're not in love with him, your life is not going to be fully submitted to him. You're just not. And so what we as men look for is that woman who's fully submitted, because we as men know that a woman whose life is fully submitted to God will never have a problem submitting to my leadership. Oh, conversely, a woman whose life is not submitted to God, she'll never, gentlemen, please hear your brother in here tonight. If a woman is not fully submitted to the Lord, she'll never fully submit to you. So we look for a woman who's in love with and absolutely submitted to the Lord. That's love nugget number one. That's a quality that's just unmistakable. Excuse me.
Now we have Latoya in the comments, and she says it works both ways. Now, I'm going to tell you what's interesting to me is, as women, we've often said, listen, I want a man that loves God. And for me, it's amazing that you emphasize the words in love with God, because there is a difference between, like you said, I'm acquainted with God. I go to church on Sunday. I go to church on Christmas and Easter, right? Like, I go to church on Mother's Day and Father's Day. There's a difference between that and really being in love with God. And I remember that was something that I have said about men, but until you taught this, I had never heard that is something that a man desires in a woman. I'd never heard that. And so I definitely think that that's powerful. And yeah, I do agree, Latoya. I think that it does work both ways, and so when we're talking about that submission piece, are you of the thought that submission actually does work both ways? That, obviously the wife, she submits to the husband, but he also submits to her as well?
Well, let me say this first. I definitely want to answer that question, Dr. Tamika. But let me say this. I am on this show tonight, Apostle Latoya, ladies. I am on this show tonight. Dr. Tamika has me here to talk about the qualities that men look for in a wife. Now, those of you who follow me, you know that I am very well balanced. I am the equal opportunity preacher. I talk to the men just as much as I talk to the women. Tonight, ladies, I am specifically talking about the qualities of a wife. So don't y'all be up in the comment section talking about, it works both ways. Listen, I'm talking about the qualities of a wife. Dr. Tamika will have me back, and I'll talk about the qualities of a husband. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. God bless you.
But why does our voice have to sound like that? I need you to say that and make it more demure, because I just believe we have better voices than that.
No, because that's how it comes across. It works both ways. Of course it works both ways. God is a balanced God, right? Yes. So let me get to your question, Dr. Tamika. So submission in and of itself is something that we both do for each other. But I want to be very clear here, because a lot of women want to, raise the banner of men are supposed to submit to us too. The man is the head. The Bible says in Ephesians chapter 5 that the head of every husband is Christ, and the head of every wife is her husband. So we are not on equal playing fields. I am the headship. I am the chief priest of the home. God holds me responsible for everything that happens in that home, from what happens with my wife, as well as what happens with our children, if we have some. Okay. So that part is super important to make sure that we understand the hierarchy of the kingdom, because the kingdom does have a hierarchy. There are roles that have to be fulfilled. We live in a world now, Dr. Tamika, where people want to kind of eradicate roles. Oh, no, that there's no gender roles. Yes, there are. And there always have been, and there always will be, if you want to be in a healthy love relationship. No matter how technology becomes advanced, how advanced technology becomes, Dr. Tamika, a man will never be able to have a child. That role is designed by God for the woman. And a man can change his sex organs. He can do all that stuff, spending a gazillion dollars for the sex change. He can do it, but he'll never be able to have a child, right? So we do have roles. So I want to be clear about that. But now here's where the submission part is important, Dr. Tamika. When I know I have a wife who is a woman of wisdom, a woman of virtue, and a woman who hears from God, there are times when I don't know certain things, and I need to bring that to my wife because I want to find out, babe, what do you think about this? And I want to get insight from her. Guess what? She might have the answer. When my wife begins to speak to me, I'm listening for the God in her. And when she speaks and I hear God, I willingly submit to the voice of God in my wife. But the whole concept or notion of mutual submission that, nobody's in charge, both of us are in charge. No, there's no such thing. There's no such thing. The Bible is clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 11. The woman was not made, man came, let me make sure I read this right. The scripture says that woman came from man. Man did not come from woman in terms of God's design in the Garden of Eden. And it goes on to say in 1 Corinthians 11, Dr. Tamika, man was not made for the woman. The woman was made for the man. And so we have to have a clear understanding about that. And then make sure that you're listening to men who are operating in the love of Christ and not operating with a domineering, chauvinistic kind of mindset, where it feels like a man is trying to rule over you versus lovingly lead you. You understand what I'm saying, Dr. Tamika?
I do. Lovingly lead. I think that's powerful. Lovingly lead. I think that's powerful. Absolutely. So what do you think about the feminist movement? I'm not even trying to get you stuck here, but there's a lot of feminism that's I feel really on the rise. What are your thoughts about that?
It is a spirit that is from the enemy, and it has tried to it is and has infiltrated the church. And sadly, a lot of our women in the church have adapted. They've adopted a feminist mindset. And so that's where we get, 50-50 conversations. That's where we get, these conversations of, no man is going to tell me what to do. I'm grown. I'm educated. I know, we're equal partners, and all those kind of conversations. But men who are committed to God and are marriage-focused men, Dr. Tamika, we don't want to have a woman that's combative and contentious. All throughout the book of Proverbs is chock full of scriptures that warn us as men to steer clear, run, Forrest, run away from the contentious woman, right? One of my favorite scriptures, and because I can literally see it, he said that it is better to dwell on the corner of a rooftop with a small morsel of bread than be in a wide house with a brawling woman.
My God.
So, bruh, you up there sleeping with the pigeons. And it would be better to be at peace with the pigeons than be in a wide mansion with a contentious woman, right? So those kind of things, Dr. Tamika, I think that the feminist movement, it really has helped to bring a war among us as men and women. And now there's such vitriol with single men and single women. And let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, particularly in the Black community, where single men and single women are literally at war with each other. I have never seen anything like it in my entire life. It is mean-spirited and it is downright demonic. And then there is, by the same token, men who are so driven with their flesh that they don't even see a need to want to do anything for a woman unless a transaction of sex precedes it. It's like, no, if she ain't giving me no cookies, I ain't taking her out. I ain't spending no money. And the first thing that a man has to do to show a woman that he has the ability to provide for her is to take her out. Spend some money. Because if a man is not generous with his money, then he's not going to be a good leader in the relationship.
Wow.
Right? You can be thrifty, or as my dad was, he was downright frugal. He had the nickname in our family, the Black Jew. I don't mean to offend anybody. That was my dad's nickname. Super tight with money. But ladies, you need to be with a man who's generous with his money, because you want to see his ability and his willingness to provide for you, right? And listen, ladies, don't ever, 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 ever lower your standard and compromise and think that you have to have sex with him in order for him to do for you. If he's not willing to do things for you, then he can't lead you, because his ability to provide and his willingness to protect is his opportunity to show you, and watch this, ladies, and to show God that he is worthy and capable of covering you.
My God. My God. That's good. That's good. So standards, it's okay for us to have standards and to have some boundaries in place. And I love, just what you're saying there. Sherry says, ouch. She said, keep stepping on those toes, Dr. G. That's good. Y'all, we got Mita Washington hanging out with us. The radio host extraordinaire is hanging out
Mita.
tonight. Yes. How you doing? Yeah, she said that part. Yeah, good stuff, Dr. G. Talk to us about the second quality that men desire. And I do appreciate, you say, listen, ladies, this right here, this meal that I'm presenting, this is a meal for you. This is the meal for you, so that we understand. Because I do think it is important for us to hear from a man, because we talk to each other all the time. And so it's amazing, because a lot of times when a man comes in a room, I used to be that person. I didn't really want to hear what the man had to say. Like I told you, I argued with him.
Really?
Okay?
You were like that, Dr. Tamika?
Well, listen, when he said I was desperate and thirsty, listen, I went back to my teenage years and he got a neck roll. I was like, how dare you say that to me? I was like, I am an independent woman. I take care of myself. Do you want to see my bank account? Listen, it was all of this. And then I walked away and I was like, but he's telling the truth though, because you are kind of desperate. I just didn't know he could see it. I didn't know he could see it.
Right.
I was scream on you right now, because I'm not going to admit it. Okay. I'm not going to admit it.
Of course. Like I'm not about to just take a L,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not.
Love nugget number 2, Dr. Tamika, is love and compassion. So the wonderful thing about a woman, I absolutely love how, first of all, let me just acknowledge this, that women are the most beautiful creature that God ever created. The most beautiful. And one of the things that I absolutely love about how God wired the woman is that she's wired to love. She's wired to be a nurturer by nature, right? Instinctively. We've seen, there was a famous picture of a police officer who, I think her child at home was like 3 or 4 years old. So she hadn't breastfed in years. But there was a crying baby that the baby came in and the baby was screaming, and like you could tell the baby was hungry, in pain, something. That woman instinctively grabbed that child in the police station with her full uniform on and started breastfeeding the child. Wow. I mean, it was like the most incredible thing ever. Instinctively, women love and nurture, right? But now the compassion part, Dr. Tamika, is another thing, because the compassion part leads to emotional maturity. So, of course, a lot of women ask men, we need men who are emotionally intelligent. We need men who are willing to be vulnerable with us.
Voice. I want you to give us a voice.
I'm sorry, Dr. Tamika. Okay, I'm gonna fix that. I'm gonna get a better voice.
Make it more demure. I mean, we are demure ladies. You say we're demure.
Yes, indeed. Men. Yes, you are. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you are.
Listening. Give us a different voice.
Okay. But when ladies are asking men to be vulnerable, ladies, you're asking us to go against how God wired us. Because again, provider, protector. If you're asking us to be vulnerable, you're asking us to go, be completely diametrically opposed to the very thing that God wired us and designed us to be, protector. By definition, Dr. Tamika, to be vulnerable means that I am open and susceptible to attack.
Wow.
How can I be covering you and our children if I'm open and susceptible to attack? No, that's not a good protector. So what we need from you in the area of an even exchange so that you can get from us the, the emotional connection. What's needed is for men to be emotionally naked, emotionally available. But now when we do this, Dr. Tamika, here's the compassion part. We need you to be compassionate and not to take that man's sharing and him opening up his heart to you. We need your compassion where you never weaponize that against him. Because the moment that you weaponize it against it, the moment that you bring it up in a future argument or a conversation, the moment that you say, yeah, that's what your problem is because your mama wasn't there, that man will shut down on you, and it may take him years to open up to you again. Because unfortunately, most of us men, especially men who are of my generation, the X generation, certainly of my father's generation, and so on and so forth, and even men of the millennial generation, we were not taught that it's okay to express ourselves emotionally. We were taught, Dr. Tamika, to suppress how we feel, not express how we feel. It's been ingrained in us. Real men don't cry. And I always share this famous story of me playing football, growing up as a football player. And I went and broke my ankle in the football game. And my dad is rushing me to Kaiser Sunset. Shout out to Sunset in Hollywood, Kaiser Hospital, super awesome hospital. My dad is rushing me to Kaiser in Hollywood. I got a broken ankle and I'm in pain. I mean, that thing is like, and my ankle is broken in 2 places. So it was broken real bad. Dr. Tamika, I'm 12 years old. And here's what my dad is saying to me while he's rushing me to the hospital. Okay, son, stop crying. Man up now, man up. Stop crying. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, son. Stop crying. Man up now. This is what my dad is saying to his 12-year-old son. Man up. Stop crying. It's going to be okay. Right? This is what he's saying. But now this is what was taught to him. So this is the only thing he knows how to give to me. And so that's been ingrained in us our whole entire lives. So what we need from our wife, from our significant other, Dr. Tamika, we need that compassion, because when I share my heart with you, I want to feel safe to do that so that I'm free to open up with you and share, and that you don't make me feel like a punk because I shared.
Wow. Yeah. I think many of us women, we have probably been guilty of doing that very thing, because I know that I, in the past, have probably been annoyed if I felt like I saw anything that was less than manly. And nobody ever said this, which is the man needs to be able to know that his heart is safe with you, that his feelings are safe with you. That's powerful. That's powerful. Can you give us the third nugget?
Yes, ma'am. You got it. Love nugget number 3. And for those of you that just came in, thank you all for coming in tonight. I appreciate you. Blessings to you, Julie. I see you. This one is a huge one, Dr. Tamika, because inevitably we are going to have some issues. So ladies, here's what I want to give you. Love nugget number 3. We're talking about 7 qualities in a wife, 7 qualities that men need in a wife. And that is your ability to forgive quickly. I already know. I can feel your spirit all the way over here. I can feel it. But listen, this is not something that I'm giving you that I created. Jesus gave us this. And so in Mark chapter 11, Jesus said, if you have aught with anyone, or anyone has aught with you, forgive them. Mark 11, 25. So that your Father in heaven may forgive you of your trespasses. Verse 26, Jesus said, but if you do not forgive, neither will the Father forgive you of your trespasses. Okay, so one translation says it like this. I believe it might be the Message translation, the Message Bible. And it says, forgive, drop it, and let it go. When we truly forgive, ladies, and we need this from you, because You want that man, you want your husband to always be willing to be what is, once again, emotionally naked with you. And if he messed up, you want him to fess up, right? But if you harbor and hold on to unforgiveness, all he remembers is that pain. All he remembers is that the house was quiet and tense. All he remembers that everybody, because if mama's upset, ain't nobody. If mama's not happy, ain't nobody gonna be happy. The dog even tiptoe around. You know, the dog is even tiptoeing around. You know, the fish don't even want to blow bubbles. Like, yeah, I'm gonna hold my bubbles, dog, because she look like she mad today. You know, I mean, everybody's gonna be tiptoeing, because if mama ain't happy, the whole house ain't happy. Praise God. Right? So you have to create this space of forgiving and forgiving quickly. That we're not holding a grudge, that we're not carrying it. I'm not talking about infidelity. I'm not talking about any form of abuse. I'm talking about a misunderstanding. I'm talking about miscommunication. I'm talking about we had a disagreement. I don't agree with what you're talking about. I can't believe you don't agree with me, Chi. Why don't you agree with me? I just don't agree with you. I have a different perspective. Well, I need you to agree with me, okay? Because we're supposed to be one. So what I'm gonna need you to agree with me. And it's like, yeah, babe, I'm sorry. I just don't see it that way. And now you hot as fish grease with me because I didn't agree with you. And now, worse, Dr. Tamika, here we go. Drum roll. The cookie shop is shut down because you didn't agree with me. What?
Nobody
So
does
because
that.
I didn't agree,
No
the
one
cookie shop is closed?
Well, I will say I agree with the different voice. And I see that you put a little neck roll in there. So ode to Tamika of like 5 years ago. So thank you for that. Ladies, y'all don't be shutting down the cookie shop. Don't shut down the cookie shop, okay? We got that's witchcraft in the comments, y'all.
Thank you, D. Reed. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you, woman of God. I'm gonna cash app you something. Praise God.
Let me see here. Dr. Troy said sex being used as a bargaining tool to come into agreement is witchcraft. So look, we have this from the apostle. We also have it from D. Reed as well. Alicia says things don't be functioning down there if emotions ain't right. Now, does that work for y'all as well? Like, do you feel like dealing with a woman that's angry? Does that impact you?
Yeah, it does. It does. And thank you for saying that, Alicia, because I do agree with you. But now watch this, Alicia. It's not so much that things don't function down there. It's that your mind is not willing to let go so that your heart can be tied in to doing what you need to do for your husband. And so it is shutting down the cookie shop is a mental thing. It's not that it's not going to work, because if you let him touch you, if you let him hold you and kiss you, your body is going to respond. Your body ain't gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna be, we're not gonna take it. No, we're not gonna take it. You know what I mean? Your body's gonna be like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? So, but if your mind is shut down and you are not open to receive your husband, then of course your body is gonna be like, yeah, we closed, dog. Until I don't know when we're gonna open back up.
Not until. Amy says, I'm a woman of God and I do have friends and we do talk. And I have been witness to them holding out on their husbands because they disagree, and it's sad. Yeah. So y'all, we're going to stop doing that. We're going to stop doing. Well, I don't have nobody to do that
Dr.
with.
Tamika, I'm going to need you to say that a little bit stronger, Dr. Tamika. I didn't feel any conviction. I didn't feel any conviction behind that, Dr. Tamika.
I'm going to tell you something. That wasn't my thing. Listen, okay, we can be mad, but like, let's make it do what it do. Okay. Like I didn't do that. I didn't do that. But for everybody, y'all listen, when we get married, we're definitely not doing that. And we're going to forgive quickly. Alicia says you've got to definitely let go. I'm working on that. So I'm learning to forgive quickly.
I'm proud of you, Miss Alicia. That's good stuff.
She said, D. Reed says you have to not allow offense to cause you to disconnect from your husband. Shauna says these voices have me bagging up. And
So, Dr. Tamika, so to answer your question, yes, it does affect us as men too. Men can shut down. In psychology, we call it stonewalling, where a man just shuts down. He's not talking. He's being, he's giving off this nasty negative energy. Just quiet. You ask him, "Hey, baby, what's wrong? Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm just watching the game." And he might sit there and watch game after game after game or movie after movie because he doesn't want to get into bed with you. And he don't want to get into bed with you until you actually are asleep. And that's wicked for the man to do as well. The Bible is clear in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. The Bible instructs us as husbands and wives not to hold out on our spouse. In fact, it goes on to say, Dr. Tamika, can we read that? Do you mind if I read that?
Absolutely. I was pulling it up.
1 Corinthians chapter 7. This is really, really, really important because we were not taught this in the church. I never heard this taught in the church ever. So listen at the word. I'm reading from the New Living Translation, and the Bible says this. We're in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, beginning at verse 5. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. The scripture says, "Do not deprive each other of sexual relations unless you both agree to refrain from sexual intimacy for a limited time, underscore, 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 so you can give yourselves more completely to prayer and fasting. Afterward, you should come together again so that Satan won't be able to tempt you because of your lack of self-control." Look at verse number 3. Go back up, Dr. Tamika. Verse 3. "The husband should fulfill his wife's sexual needs, and the wife should fulfill her husband's needs. The wife gives authority over her body to her husband, and the husband gives authority over his body to his wife." So I'm not in charge of my body anymore. All this belongs to my wife. It's funny how we'll say that in the throes of passion, but then when we mad at each other, "Now I'm taking my stuff back." It's like, I thought it was mine, so we're supposed to be giving that to each other, period. So men don't get to shut down and women don't get to shut down. But generally, men are not going to shut down for too long, ladies, because if you put on that red dress and slip on them high heels.
Hey, yeah, okay. Oh, and he's drinking his tea.
And some of that sweet perfume. It sure looks good on you. Listen, we're going to be looking. I might be mad. And I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep looking. And I'm going to keep looking. I'm going to keep looking like, girl, you looking good over there. Just like candy. Oh, she looking real sweet. Giving me a heart attack. But that's the kind I like.
Hey, love it. Yeah, Dr. Troy is saying husband's body belongs to his wife and vice versa. Prophet Elisa says this is good. Good stuff. Good stuff. This is good stuff. Do we have a few more minutes of your time, Dr. G? I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this is good.
I'll give one more love nugget, Dr. Tamika, and I think maybe we come back and do a part 2.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that's totally okay.
Okay, cool. So I want to give this love nugget because this one is something that's also not taught in the church. So after we deal with the forgiveness piece, the next piece, this one is super important, that what we as men look for in a wife is a woman's willingness to be patient with us. Patience. And actually, this is something that we have to give to each other, because patience, the first attribute that describes what real love is, according to the love chapter, 1 Corinthians 13, love is patient. Love is kind. The first godly attribute that describes what real love is patient. But we're often, both of us, men and women, we're both guilty of being very impatient with each other. So as men, we need and we look for a woman's willingness to be patient with us. So let's look at it on a futuristic level, and let's look at it on a day-to-day level. On a day-to-day level, those of us that are of a certain age, those of us that are seasoned, for over 40, over 50 perhaps, there is an expectation for many women, not all, But there's an expectation, Dr. Tamika, from many women that he needs to show up having it all. And he better know what to do. Like, I've heard so many women, and I've counseled with so many women say, Dr. G, I feel like I shouldn't have to teach a man. Well, okay, that's how you feel, but it's not real. You do need to teach your man. I just feel like a grown man should know how to please his wife. He knew how to please the last woman he was with. And yeah, I talked to her too, and she definitely was not trying to let him go. You got him now. So you have to teach him how to please you. It's not you teaching a man how to make love, but you have to teach him how to please you, which means you have to be patient. Because if it doesn't work too well, if it doesn't click, if all cylinders are not all firing in those first couple of times that you are intimate together as husband and wife, then you have to teach. And that's what seasoned, mature women do. Teach. It might just be, a slight adjustment. It may not be a major overhaul, might just be a slight adjustment, right? So you have to be willing to do that. Ebony said, I'm not even trying to do it. But we have to listen. And the same thing is true for me as a man. She might not know how to please me, so I'm going to have to teach her, right? And so that's where patience comes in, because she was married to her husband of 20 something years, and she hasn't been with no other man ever since. So it would be rude and nasty of me to not be patient with her and say, hey, baby, I don't really like that, or hey, baby, you know what? I kind of prefer this. And so we have to be patient with each other, right? So the patience part. Now, futuristically, we first get together and you're working, I'm working. The ultimate goal for every man who really loves his wife, he is going to have a plan, or he will pray and get a plan. But most of us as men, we already have a plan. We have a plan and how we are going to work toward making sure that we can retire that woman. We do not want her working all the way until she's 65 and then, she's worn out. We do not want her doing that. Okay. So we want to find creative ways. And there's never been a greater time ever in history that we have so many wonderful ways that we can make a lot of money from home. We ain't even got to leave the pad. We can make a ton of money right here together. Babe, come on. Let's get up. Let's pray. Let's have some devotion, and let's get the mind of God and figure out what can we do to serve people, and how can we set up a system that's going to allow us to generate multiple streams of revenue doing what we both love to do. Come on, babe. Let's get it. Because I don't want you on that I-75. I don't want you on I-95. I don't want you out there in that traffic. What? It's snowing out here. In Atlanta, Dr. Tamika, it snowed just a week and a half ago. People were stuck for hours all day. Their cars and trucks were stuck on that freeway, could not get home. I don't want my wife to deal with nothing like that. Nah, baby, no. You staying at the pad, girl. Might as well go and put that bathrobe back on. You know what I mean? So if he's not there yet, if he's not making 6, 7, 8 figures yet, if he doesn't quite have it yet, the patience part, Dr. Tamika, is I'm going to sit with my man. I'm going to pray with my man. And then we're going to find out what the plan is, what the vision is. And I'm going to help him toward that vision, because what he wants is for me to be able to retire. What he wants is for me to not have to be working 50, 60 hours a week. No man who really loves his wife wants his wife working that hard. Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. G, I just have to ask, and ladies, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat so that, we can let Dr. G go in the next few minutes. But how does a woman know, especially because I think a lot of us in these comments, I think a lot of us probably are more mature. We're probably over 40, perhaps over 50, and beyond, or what have you. How do we know when, I'll tell you, being over 40, I'm not necessarily looking for somebody who has potential, right? I'm okay with somebody not making 8 figures and all of that, but not necessarily looking for somebody who just has potential or a Coke and a smile. So how can a woman tell the difference between someone who is worthy of our patience versus somebody who has just potential, untapped potential that they may never fulfill?
Great question, Dr. Tamika. So that's why we date. Dating is for discovery. While we're dating, we're going to discover that just based on the questions that you're asking him. Because in the questions that you're asking him, Dr. Tamika, you're not going to be asking him, so what you're working on, what is your dream? You're going to be asking him, so what do you have? Right? And so you want to bring that to the conversation pretty early on in the conversation. Not date number 1, not date number 2, but maybe after about date number 3, and you guys have been talking for a few weeks, maybe a month or so, you want to talk about, so, hey, so tell me, share with me, what is your plan? You know, because for myself as a woman, I'm a wife. And as a wife, I'm called to be a help to my husband. But I can only help a man who has a great vision, and he's taking great strides toward the execution of that vision, right? That right there is going to inspire the right man. Some men might be turned off by that conversation. Cool. If he's turned off, if he gets a little upset, if he gets a little perturbed, boom, deuces sideways. You already know, because the only reason why a man would be upset by that question is because he ain't got no plan. A man with a plan wants to share with you what his plan is. It's just that simple, Dr. Tamika. So it'll be easy if you're asking the right questions, ladies. It'll be very easy to vet that gentleman and find out if he is a man who is potential that's in process of coming to fruition, or a man who just has a dream that may never come to pass.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you so much, Dr. G. This has been enlightening, and I know that what really hit for everybody is dating is for discovery. Dating is for discovery. I think that that's definitely powerful. That's absolutely powerful, and I appreciate you just taking the time to just explain that. If you have a question, you guys, I'm gonna probably stick around for like another 90 seconds before we go ahead and close out, because I absolutely want to bring you back so that you can give us the rest of the qualities that men desire in a woman. Now, I do want to ask you this: where did you get this list from? Is this only what like you desire, or is this because of all the years that you have been involved in being a relationship coach and what have you?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, Dr. Tamika. So yeah, it's a combination of several things. It's 20 years of experience. It is taking excerpts from great books like Love and Respect by Dr. Emerson Eggerichs, taking excerpts from teaching from the late great Dr. Miles Monroe, and then following my spiritual dad, who this coming April, he and Mom Carolyn, they'll be celebrating 54 years of marriage, my spiritual father and apostle. So following great men, reading, researching, and even through secular studies of outside of the Christian circle, these things pretty much ring true, you know. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. But I want to say this really quickly. I think I saw a comment that I wanted to speak to. How long should you date in the discovery place? Yeah, thank you, Miss Elisa. So ladies, across the board, and you can look up the statistic for yourself, across the board, Black, white, Asian, Latino, European, whatever, across the board, generally speaking, it takes men approximately 88 days to either fall in love or to make a conscious decision that that's the woman that I want to be a part of my life. 88 days. All right. That's across the board. So because and now, ladies, here's the difference, though. This is for marriage-minded men, not just any men, because a lot of men are not interested in marriage. You could be with him for 5 years, 10 years, and you're still not married. Right? We're doing everything that married people do, but he's never made that commitment to you. Right? This is for marriage-focused men, marriage-minded men. All right. So how long should you be in the discovery process? As a woman, you want to figure that out for yourself At the moment that you have peace concerning him, that you've seen him being consistent, he does what he says he's going to do. He shows up. He calls me consistently, all those different things, right? The things that make you feel good in your heart about a man. And then let's say it's been 3 months and both of you are still in a place of trying to figure it out. Usually you're not still trying to figure it out unless this is a long distance relationship and we haven't had a chance to spend time together. But generally speaking, if you have time and you're spending time together, it won't take long. That whole dating process shouldn't take more than 2 to 3 months. And sometimes it could be just a couple of weeks and a few conversations, Miss Elisa, and you'll find out like, hey, yeah, he ain't answering me the right way. I don't like how he talking. You know what I mean? And something will just be alarming in your spirit. I'll share this quick story, Dr. Tamika, before we go. There was a lady that we were talking years ago, and we started dating. And I mean, I just felt if you looked at us on paper, we were perfect together. And the way we bonded was just incredible. And I remember feeling so strongly about her, but it was happening so fast. And I was like, gee, you need to slow your roll, player. And so I prayed. I literally got on my face and I prayed. I said, God, if she's not the one, I need you to reveal that to me. We went out on a date. And this is after we've been together for quite some time, probably about like going on 2 months. We went out on a date. And while we were in the car, she was talking to one of her friends. Her friends was having a problem with her fiance. And they looked like they were going to call off the wedding. She hung up the phone. She was frustrated. I said, is everything okay? She's like, it's just easier to get a girlfriend. Oh my God. Listen, I was done. I said, what did you say? It's just easier to get a girlfriend. Gee, these men just be da-da-da-da. And I was like, whoa. I said, have you been with a woman before? She said, yeah, in college and da-da-da. It was just a thing. If you don't mind me asking, when was the last time you've been? So, gee, why you got to be asking me that? I said, no. I'm not accusing you of anything. I just kind of want to know. And she really became defensive, which told me that this is something that had happened in her recent memory, which is, watch this, ladies and gentlemen. Jesus said, watch this, Dr. Tamika, out of the abundance of the things that are in your heart, the mouth yet speaks. When she said it's just easier to get a girlfriend, I said to myself, and myself said, yeah, player.
Not yet, player.
Bruh, this is not the one. That's God's answering you, right? Yeah, I know, man. I prayed today and God showed me. Yeah. Okay, player. So you need to, boom. So I had that conversation with myself, and that was it.
You had a meeting with yourself. Dr. D, there were 2 more questions, if it's okay for us to do that, because I am cognizant of your time. I have the question here, and I'm cognizant of sensitive topics. So the question is, how do you deal with a husband who is not on the same level spiritually? Because we do have women that are in here. Some are married, some are dating, some are single. Yeah. So how do you deal with a husband who is not on the same level spiritually?
Great question. Here's where that fruit of patience comes in. It's going to be your prayer. It's going to be your patience. And it's going to be really being generous in affirming him. I don't care if he reads one scripture to you, affirm that man and make sure it's sincere now. Don't patronize him like, oh, that was great. You read Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. We learned that in Sunday school. Like, no, be genuine and sincere in your affirmation of him. Okay. Because what that does for us, ladies, it inspires us to want to do more. My wife was really excited when I was getting into the word. Man, let me go grab this word and get a little bit more up in here. Yeah. We do. Ladies, there is something inherent in men where we desire to be your hero. So when you affirm us, And I know some of you ladies are going to be resistant to this, but if you listen to me, I promise you it'll bless you. Some of you would say, well, he's supposed to be doing that anyway. He should love God for himself. But if he's not quite there yet where you are, your encouragement can help him get there, right? We're supposed to be helpers of one another, right? Because I'm sure you all would tell me, for the woman who's not quite as seasoned as I am in the word, well, Dr. G, you should help her get there, right? Well, you should help your husband. You are his helpmeet. So you should be helping your husband inspire him to get there. Okay. But the relationship doesn't mean, Dr. Tamika, that because he's not quite where his wife is, doesn't mean that they're unequally yoked. Okay. A lot of people take that scripture and twist it all out of context, like a Jehovah Witness. Just take it all out of context. Okay. The scripture is plain in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, 2 Corinthians chapter 6. The only thing that classifies as being unequally yoked is being connected to an unbeliever. So it doesn't matter if the woman is making more money than the man. They are not unequally yoked. It doesn't matter if the woman is more advanced spiritually, intellectually, or otherwise than the man. They're not unequally yoked. The scripture is plain. Be not unequally yoked together with an unbeliever. For what fellowship have light with darkness? What fellowship has the son of the children of God with the sons of Belial? Okay, it's very, very plain. So y'all stop trying to add stuff in. Yeah, child, I just don't think he on your level. Y'all unequally yoked, you know. Okay, I'm sorry, Dr. Tamika. I said I was going to give a more demure voice.
Well, we'll say that demure then.
Hey, I don't know how to do that one, demure.
Oh, okay. You see, I sat up at attention. I was waiting. So we have, that was good. Thank you in the comments. And that really was. That was really powerful. We're getting teach. And I want to give you the last question that was presented on tonight. And the question is, where would you recommend a woman of standard, morals, and virtue go to present themselves for a man of quality?
Where would you recommend a woman of standard, morals, and virtue go to present themselves for a man of quality?
I mean, can she go to the club?
I love this question. Can she go to the club?
The club. The club.
I mean, if you want to meet a brother like 50 Cent, see exhibit in the cook bed, rolling peas up. If you want one of them brothers, several places. Number one, ladies, art galleries. Black History Month, there's some phenomenal art galleries everywhere in every major city in America. Art galleries, those are where men of quality hang out. Ask me how I know. Another place is bookstores, coffee shops. Bookstores and coffee shops. If you go to the larger Barnes and Noble bookstores, they will often have a Starbucks or some other type of coffee shop in there. In the barn, in the big ones, not all of them, because some of them are smaller stores, but the larger ones, they have a Starbucks or some type of coffee shop in there. Men hang out at coffee shops. They got their laptops, they got their books, they're studying, they're working, they're entrepreneurs. So that's a good place. Another wonderful place in terms of a social gathering is a jazz lounge. So there's like jazz and or poetry, spoken word, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and even sometimes Sundays. So you just have to look in your local circular or get on Eventbrite and look for the local events that are going on in your area. A lot of these things are free. And if you go to a jazz lounge, they may just require you just to buy 2 drinks. So, hey, do what I used to do. Just get you 2 Shirley Temples. I'll order me some calamari and just kick it. Boom. And listen to some smooth jazz all night. You know what I mean? But you always you always meet some wonderful people there. So, and then finally, ladies, just as an extracurricular activity, get to the golf course. You'll never find a broke man at the golf course because golfing takes some money. Okay. So the golf course is a wonderful outlet. It's a great outlet for you because, ladies, multi-million-dollar deals are often done on the golf course. So it's a networking opportunity. It's an extracurricular activity, giving you something better to do. So yeah, that's some great places to connect with good quality men.
That was really comprehensive. That was good. Because again, we as women, we talk to each other. So it is so powerful to have a man here. Prophet Elisa says, she said, yes, this is great teaching. We need part 2. So y'all, I'm going to try to schedule that off air for sure, because we absolutely do need it. And yeah, that was comprehensive. So ladies, I guess for those of us who don't know how to golf, we need to like form a golf club for people who don't golf so we can learn how to golf. All right.
Yeah. And get your little cute outfits on. And you know what I'm saying? Get your little cute outfits, get your little cute skirts, go out there and have some fun.
Yeah, that is good stuff. Dr. G, thank you so much for your time on tonight. I know that you have a book that's going to be dropping soon. Did you want to talk about it now or when you come back?
Yeah, I'll talk about it when I come back.
You'll talk about it when you come back. But y'all, listen, this book is like that. It's like that. And so we got to get Dr. G back in here like ASAP. We got to get him in here ASAP. And I just want to say to you, thank you so much for your time and your care, because the amazing thing is there are men that are gatekeepers of this information, which is actually kind of crazy that that's the case. So thank you for not being a gatekeeper. Thank you for blessing us. Oh man, Shauna said I didn't hear Lowe's or Home Depot as a place.
Yeah, Shauna. Most women who are well-dressed women are not going to find themselves there. But if you are a person who loves kind of like do-it-yourself kind of ladies, DIY, Lowe's and Home Depot are nice, nice places to meet some good quality gentlemen. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love how, look, you were so careful with that answer. You were so sweet with that. Thank you, Mita, for hanging out with us, y'all. It's like a whole celebrity.
Thank you, Mita.
Oh, just hanging out with us, y'all. Yeah, it's just hanging out with us. So listen, Dr. G, did you have anything that you wanted to say before we close out tonight?
Oh, my girl Cherie, she put something that I always teach, Dr. Tamika. So ladies, if you are a business owner or an aspiring entrepreneur, author, artist, there is no reason in the world why you are not going to your monthly Chamber of Commerce meetings in your city. They usually have at least 1 to 2 events every month. And usually it's a breakfast. And then there's another day in that month where they're doing a business mixer / happy hour thing. Ladies, guess who's there? Men with money, men who have their own businesses, men who are well established. So you are doing yourself and your business, forget the relationship. You're doing yourself and your business a disservice by not joining the Chamber of Commerce. And then, of course, by joining, not only is that helping your business, but you're also positioning yourself to connect with good quality men.
Now, I mean, does any business qualify? Because I could almost hear somebody saying, well, I don't feel like my business is worthy enough to be part of the Chamber of Commerce. Do you feel like any business owner of any type should join the Chamber of Commerce?
Dr. Tamika, anything that provides a product or a service that helps people is a viable business that can be a part of the Chamber of Commerce. You never know what that city may need. You never know what that community may need. You know what I mean? So let's say, I always like to use this fun example. Let's say that your vision is you have exotic gumballs, right? Exotic gumballs with wonderful flavors and wonderful colors, and you have a scripture on each one.
Ooh.
Right? Well, guess what? Somebody's having a birthday party. Somebody's having a child's party. Somebody's having a bar mitzvah. Somebody's having a wedding. Somebody's having a something, holiday party or whatever, where they want you to do your exotic gumballs. And then they may even ask you, hey, can you also bake? Yeah, sure can. Boom. Now you got a little catering situation going on. So you just never know. Don't ever think too small of what God has given you. Take it to the marketplace. Because if the person who made chia, if that person made multi-millions, what you waiting on?
I love it. Good stuff. Is there anything else that you wanted to share with us on tonight before we go?
No, ma'am. I think
because you put it out there. You left it all on the court. You went hard in the paint tonight.
Yes, ma'am. We'll come back for part 2.
We'll come back for part 2. So thank you so much, Dr. G. Listen, everybody, what a way to kick off 2025. Okay. What a way to kick off 2025. We have learned so many incredible things. And I think that, within the 4 points that Dr. G gave to us, we are able to take those things and we're able to refine who we are in our pursuit and in our waiting. And for those of you that are married, what beautiful, beautiful tips that he gave, even for those that are in the space of marriage. So listen, I do just want to say we are going to be back within 2 weeks. We're going to be back in 2 weeks, and I'm going to have another guest on. Miss Felicia is going to be here, and she's going to be talking about being single and celibate, and of course, loving the Lord. So listen, I just want to say to you all that I love you, that you were created to make God famous. He's anointed you to do hard things, and that includes waiting. I thank you all, and you all have a good night.